Welcome back to the workbench. We are still working on the Ayrton Senna model kit build. And so just a quick catch up. This is what we've got so far with the chassis. I think we're looking pretty good. Basically, we've made it to step 7. We still need to work on the wheels and tires, which I have actually got the wheels here. We can go ahead and put these together. And then I did paint the tires also in between episodes. So we got that ready to go. The other thing that's ready to go, our body panels, body pods are now dry. So I think those are good to go. And then I also wanted to catch you up to date on the figure himself. So I had painted this. The only white I had in the entire workshop out of hundreds of paints was this Model Masters Insignia white. So that's what I painted him with. And this stuff turns out is extremely glossy. Which does not work very well for a fire suit, which is not glossy. So what I did is I sprayed it with a coat of matte clear, and that matte clear kind of reacted with it a little bit. You can see how it pulled back some. Let me see if I can get the camera to zoom in. It pulled back some of the paint. It's kind of strange. I'm not too sure I'm upset about it. So like we had talked about before, I want his suit to be pretty worn in. Normally your fire suits, you wear them in pretty good. So I'm not too upset with that, where some of the white has kind of pulled back. I don't know what the clear really did. It just reacted with it, but it did pull a lot of the high gloss off of it. So we've got him to work on also. But what I thought we'd do, we'll set him aside for right now. We'll go back to work on the chassis. So let's actually move everything to the side and back up to where we were at, which is, let's see, I guess we need to go all the way back to step 4 because we need to put the front cowl, they're calling it, or the front pod, whatever, and then this front panel on. So let's see, let's move our chassis back over front and center. Make sure that it is front and center. There you go. And it looks like this guy, it just kind of mounts, right? There's 2 pegs right here that attach to the back side of this, and I'm debating whether or not. Yeah, that's gonna fit just like that. That's perfect. So just make it straight, and I think it'll be perfect. Yeah, we'll have to make that straight like so. You know what I need to do? So again, we're gonna use our CA glue, but I'm gonna go ahead and get some of this. I like to put a bunch here. If you haven't, if you're new to the channel or you're new to this build, what I've been doing is putting some CA glue here. Let me show you right here in the corner. I let that dry up a little bit because I'm using a toothpick. This thing is so small, I just use a toothpick to kind of apply the glue. But I want it to gum up a little bit. So I let that start drying, and it's been working the best for us. Now, what I was going to say is I've been debating on whether I should apply the decals now or do it all at the end. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to wait to the end. This might be the wrong decision, but I think I'm going to wait to the end. The reason being is I'd rather just have essentially like a last episode of this build, a wrap-up episode where we're just applying decals. But for now, let me get this prepped to glue up. Here we are. So I'm going to pull a little glue, or pull some of the paint off of here. I actually tried to avoid painting this, so this little tab. So there shouldn't be much paint there, but that's going to attach right here. So I need to scrape some of this paint off is more important. There we go. Because this is what's going to be able to hold us centered. And then we're going to need to pull a little paint. I need to be real careful because I don't want to break anything while I do this. Pull a little bit of the paint off of these 2 pegs here. I think that'll be okay. And then we also need to take it out of these holes. So what I usually use is just a pin vise to do that. You can kind of just drill out the holes like so, almost like you're clearing out some powder coating or something like that if you're doing a big build. Okay, so now, like I said, I'm going to use a toothpick. Where did I put my glue? Yeah, it's down here. Yeah, so it's starting to gum up just a little bit, so it gets a little more solid, a little more easier to apply. Because I don't want to, even with the tip on the glue, I don't want to, I'm just terrified of squeezing it all over this model. And this works much better, just be able to apply it exactly where you want the glue to go. And this is Starbond CA glue. Again, I always mention if you want to get a good CA glue, just use the link down in the description. You can get you a discount. So now let's go ahead and now that we got our glue on there, this is going to go here and these are going to go there. And then I need to get it to, whoops. One, I need to get it to stay attached. There we go, right here, like that. And then I want to make sure it's nice and straight. There we go, like this. So I'm just going to hold it just a second right there. And that's kind of centering all of, let me turn it while I do it. So we had all this kind of structure we put in here. We had to put in a gas tank. We had to put in the center dash with that hoop. We've got the steering column. This really, at the end of the day, is kind of centering it all up. Let me make sure that's still, yep, that's right. It's kind of giving us, I needed just a little bit right there. Okay. Now, if I can just hold it. This is kind of centering all of that structure up for us because that's where obviously where the steering wheel is also going to go. We're going to want that to be pretty centered. It's got to go in his hands. Speaking of, I'll show you in a second. I was test fitting him in the seat. In fact, I can probably do it right now while I hold this. And it might even help hold it. He fits okay, but he doesn't actually sit down in the seat. And unless you look closely, you don't really notice that. And that has nothing to do with the build, how we built this. It just has to do with he's too big for these. He's molded too big. He doesn't actually sit down in the seat. Okay, I think that's holding. I'll use him to help hold it also. Okay. So I guess we'll just kind of go with it. I think we'll just kind of go with it. There's nothing we can do. I could try to shave his sides down, but then that's going to look, I don't know. Maybe we do that. I would really like him to sit. See, it's pinching him on his hips, essentially, so that he doesn't sit down into the seat. It's also catching, which I don't think anything I can do. It's catching on the back sides of his shoulders here on the back of the seat. So I don't know if there's really anything I can do about this. Either the seat needed to be just a hair bigger, or him just just a scale size down, or a percentage of a scale down. Anyways, let's let this glue up, and we'll go ahead and put the front pod on, which is the next piece. And it looks like it pretty much just mounts off this hole right up front here. Let me see. We'll test fit it. It's got like a peg on this side. Let me see how that's going to fit in here. Yeah, it fits right behind that sway bar, I guess. Yeah, I guess the sway bar actually shows. Oh, it pushes way down too. Okay. And I think what I'll do, I mean, that fits very tight. I don't even know if it really needs glue. Oh, there, it even popped in. There he went. Okay, nice. So that sticks those. Is that sway bar supposed to be up that high? Do I see it? Yeah, it is. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's exactly right. The sway bar actually does sit above that front bumper like that. So that's perfect. It's snapped in place. It's not going anywhere, but I think what I'll do, we have the hole on this side. I'll just take a little glue from over here and just kind of drop it in this hole here. Let me bring this over so I can see what I'm doing. Just for a little reassurance. It's not going to go anywhere, but it really snapped in place. I don't know how it's going to go anywhere. And that'll have, yeah, okay, that got solid for us. Good. That'll have finally have step 4 finished. And I think that looks, it's actually a pretty neat little kit. I've never built a go-kart. I like it. Pretty cool. Anyways, let me set that aside because next we've got step 5 is all done, but next I guess what we have to do is get our wheel and tire combos together. So let's see what that's going to take. So I've already, I went and painted these. I pre-painted them. This was in between episodes. I pre-painted them. I've also actually sanded some of the paint off so that they'll be able to glue into the wheels. I don't know. We'll see. I tried to sand them down. Like that needs a little more work right there. I want to make sure these wheels are nice. They have some kind of what do you call it? Like some of the molding. It's a little over molded. flashing, I guess you would call it. There's some flashing on the sides of these. I want to make sure these wheels are nice and round looking. Don't want that to take away from it. But where are the tires? Let me grab them from over here where I painted them. And we'll take a quick look at the tires. So you saw the back, yesterday I showed you the back tires where I had scuffed them. Hopefully you can see. I doubt you can see. Maybe in the light, in the reflection of the light there, you can see that they're scuffed up. Basically, I used the very coarse side of my big fingernail file here to give them a good scuffing along this direction of the tire. And then I had to fill these, and I've got powder all from where I was sanding with that. I had to fill these with body filler because they were really, from the molding process, really dented in. And then I did the same thing to what I would say is scrub them in, just like you would do a real set of race tires, a real set of slicks. And I think it looks pretty good. So now let me just I'm going to kind of test fit one of these with the wheel. Yeah, they fit. They fit very tight. Let me pop that back out. Or actually, because that's not, let me see if that's going to actually go all the way on there. It's not wanting to fit because I've got a little bit. I think that's probably the problem. Let me see this one. Definitely want them to fit all the way in like they're supposed to. Yeah, that one fit a little deeper. I think they're going to have a little rim showing on the outside. That's how they're supposed to be. I think that's not too bad. I wonder if I can get this one. This one has, if I take, actually, let me see if I can pop it back out of there. What do I have that will, something to push on it. There we go. Yeah, something to push it the rest of the way. Will this work? Yeah, okay. So once I pushed, I could tell there's, yeah, right here, there's a little bit that needs to be removed, and that's what's, basically it's what's left of the sprue where we pulled it off the sprue, and that's what's holding it up from going all the way in. I don't know if we're going to need, well, I think I'll go ahead and glue them, to be honest with you. In fact, I'll probably, I don't know the best way. Yeah, I want to make sure they fit before I glue them, but I'm afraid I'm going to get them in here and then not be able to get them out. But I guess if that's the case, do I even really need glue? And I'm just using the table to try to push it all the way in. I don't know. I think that's going to work okay just like that. This one looks crooked to me, but I guess it's not. No. So I think that's okay. I think we'll just go like that with them. I can't, it took a lot to get them out, so I don't know if I really need to glue them in place or not. I might could drop a little glue on the back side. Make sure I've got that cleaned up. See how these back ones fit. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to use the table, I think, to try and push them all the way in. Yeah, that's kind of, let me try the other one. You really can tell where there's extra, let's see, when you put them against the black tire, you can see where there's that little bit of extra plastic that got left behind. I think that's what's holding that one up. I'm trying to, I thought I'd got all that cleared up, but it's hard to see. Yeah, see, I think right here's going to be a problem. See what I can do. See if that one works better. A lot of times these kits will actually have rubber tires and it makes it a lot easier. That is not nearly far enough in. You know what would work for this? Maybe, well, one, maybe I'll try standing up. Give it everything I got. That's pretty close. Looks like this side needs to come in a little bit. Yeah, there it went. Felt it. Oh yeah, that looks good. So that's, I think that's the secret. Just use all your weight. Yeah, yep, much better. Let me try the front tires too. This is killing my thumb. I just have to be honest with you. I might have a permanent tire print Yep, good. Permanent tire print on my thumb. Yeah, good. That actually worked. And I don't think there's any chance these are coming out. So I'm not even going to worry. I don't think I'm going to worry about putting glue on them. I think all I'm going to do now is actually put them on the car. So let's see. Let's make sure. I guess we can start with the back axle. So we've got the chain. Let me get this up here where you can see. We've already got the chain on, and we've got our disc brake on. So here's our chain on that side, and then there's a disc brake on this side of the axle. Disc brake, chain, and then I don't think it matters which goes where. Hopefully this will just squeeze. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and take just they're too big for my pin vise. Hopefully, I want them to fit tight, so I don't want to open them up too much anyways, but I mean, I could always, I guess, glue them on the axle. Oh my goodness, this is real. I'm afraid I'm just going to crush this entire thing right in my hand trying to push these on. Let me see if I can squeeze them like this. Yeah, they're going very slowly. Now I can shift this axle wherever I need to go with it. Okay, that I could feel that actually started, I think, pushing that wheel out. I think that's all the way on. So then now I think, so we got a little axle. I guess that's how that's going to go. You know what I can do? I'm going to center the axle like so. I thought it would push all the way on, but let's do something. I'm going to do something here real quick. I'm going to take one of the pods, one of the side pods, that is, kind of put it in place and see where that lines up. I think that's the wrong one. It goes this way. They're actually going to mount here, but is that going to... It has to push on yet. So I think that's actually right. Yeah, it is actually going to have a little bit of axle. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It's not going to squeeze all. I thought it would probably squeeze all the way on. It does not. It doesn't seem like that's the case. This wheel kind of popped out a little bit. I'm going to try to fix that up. But we have a little bit of axle in between. I guess in between. What are they showing on here? Do they ever... Yeah, they show some axle out there. I think, and there's not actually a brake caliper. They don't really... That wasn't really included, but... I think this is how it actually goes. I just need to fix this wheel by pushing. Let me see if I can get it back. I have to do it like this. I think I felt it. Not the easiest thing in the world to do. Yeah, I really don't like how far out this wheel is now sticking because of me pushing it on the drive shaft. I think that's the best I'm going to do. That's not too bad. Yeah, that's all right. Okay. Now let me recenter. I'm going to have to drop some glue. I had left the chain unglued because I thought the wheels would hold it in place, but I'm going to have to actually glue this chain in place right here. I'm just going to glue it to the output shaft of the motor. Assuming this is the crankshaft here. Put a little bit of glue on there, and then it lines right up. It's really nice. Did that go on? There we go. Yep, I'm going to push it all the way against the motor. And then we can, oh, this axle will just slide back and forth. Okay. Better let that sit still for a second while that chain glues on. Okay. So what do we, I think it's okay. It's not too bad. Getting there. Now we've got to get these front wheels on. I'm afraid I've got a lot of paint on here where I painted the front spindle silver. I'm hoping they pop on real easy with that paint. Yeesh. That is definitely going to want to break. what is the easiest way to do this? I think the easiest way is going to be sand down the spindles. So I think I'm going to take my sanding stick here and just remove some of this paint. And if I have to go back and touch it up, that's fine. If, in other words, there's a little bit of the, because it's been painted red and then silver on top of the red, so it's really gotten thicker than the original white plastic molding. Do both sides. You can see the red coming through. Did I just break my gas pedal again? That gas pedal has been the absolute, like I said before, the bane of my existence. These things are so fragile. You try to do these things with soft hands, which I just have a lot of trouble with. Let me see if that's going to work. I don't know the best way. I don't know if that's going to, you know, I might have to. I don't think that's all the way on, is it? Is that all the way on? There's no way. There's no way those spindles are supposed to stick out that far, are they? Let me again look at the pictures here. It's hard to tell. And whatever reference I can use. Yeah, it definitely looks like they should suck in further than that. I mean, they're only going to go so far because there's only so much wheel they can go through, but it's about like that, yeah. I'm just wondering if I should have put the wheels on. I'm going to break this. I know it's going to happen. We've come this far. Where's my big drill bit? Well, this. No. Too small. Where's my X-Acto? I'm just going to try to clean this side out a little bit. See if that helps. I can tell the way it's molded, it's meant to pop on, which is not happening. I think it's supposed to pop. I think it's literally supposed to pop all the way through. So let me do this. Let me clean out this side. You can always touch this paint up. That's no problem. Yeah, I think it's supposed to clip all the way through the wheel. On this one, the back wheels, the wheels themselves, the wheel faces are solid, so you can't go all the way through. But I think this is supposed to pop through there. There it went. Yep, that's exactly what it does. Okay, so I think that's the answer. Let me open up this side. Basically, when I say open up this side, I'm just cleaning out the paint and a little bit of the plastic. But especially on the face side of the wheel, it needs cleaned out. It's where I've painted them. It's gummed up the inside of the hole with some paint. And it doesn't take much to where it won't do what it's supposed to do. Now, what's the best way? Oop, open that one up too much. So I think what we'll do is glue them, which is fine with me. I don't have to have them turn. So that one's definitely going to have to be glued. Can I get this one back off now? Probably. Okay. And I'm going to actually just drop some glue on them like this. Like that. Come around to this side. That. This one has way too much glue on it. Where is here? This will work. Get some of that off of there. And now let's put us back on. I just put it on backwards. That's wonderful. There we go, just like that. And then I'll have to touch this paint up. which is fine. That's easy enough to do. I want to make sure they're the same distance through, which is about right there. I'll set it flat on the ground here so I can make sure the tires are nice and flat. What do we think? I think that looks pretty good. Can't complain. This tire wheel sticks out just a little too much, or a little more than I'd like, but I don't know if there's anything I can do about it. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not awful. That's all glued up. I probably should have. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm okay with that. Let me set this to the side. Let it sit flat. Let those front tires dry a little bit, and then because that I think finishes step. Does that finish step 6 for us? I think so. Yeah. So now we're on over here, which, oh, you know what? I forgot I had test fitted the silencer on. It's not actually glued in. Boy, it's acting like it's glued in, but it's not. I'm not gonna mess with it. I think it fits so tightly, it's not one to come out. I don't want to break anything. I actually put this in between episodes to kind of test fit the expansion chamber and the silencer, the exhaust, basically, which it fits perfectly and nicely. It looks good. So that is actually already done. We need to do. It looks like they want us to do the chain guard. Y'all can't even see what I'm pointing at. To do this chain guard and the number plate first, then we'll put our side pods on. So where is that? It's kind of the last pieces we have, really. Yeah, here we go. So I'd pre-painted them, of course. Let's go ahead and get our, well, it seems to be what I'm assuming is a chain guard. If I can get it clipped off of here. We'll put it on first. Let me set you aside for a second. Oh my goodness, I put this wheel on backwards. Oh wow, I just noticed. Are you going to come loose? Come loose, please. Oh no. Oh no. Is it coming loose or is it? Yeah, it did. Okay. Luckily, our glue, I think I can get it off. Basically, I'm screwing it off. There it came off. Thank goodness. I literally put that wheel on backwards. Wow, that was about the dumbest thing I've done ever. Sometimes you just lose at life, and putting wheels on backwards is definitely a way to do it. Let me put this back on now the correct way. And I want to put it through the there we go. Now that looks like an actual wheel, and it looks the same as the other side. Okay, perfect. All right. I'm glad I caught that before it completely, because it would have just broke that spindle off once it completely dries. Okay, and what if this is actually, where does this attach? Let's see. So it attaches, okay, so it just sits, oh, this has a hole that it goes into. Where is that? Oh, back here, I see. It attaches to this kind of rear bumper. Yeah, like this. I'm just trying to see how this goes because I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to tell what is sprue that's left behind on the piece and what is actually part of the part you need. I think so. It looks like, yeah, that little tab needs to come off. That's actually part of the sprue, but not part of the part. If that makes sense. Right there. Yeah, that's good. Now let me sand down this little, here we are. Sand down this little tab, whatever it is, peg, tab, knob, whatever you want to call it. There we go, because that's what we're going to glue. That's a nice clean surface because I just snipped it with the X-Acto. Now I need to get in here. I'm going to drill. There's a hole right here. This is where the back side of that bumper is going to attach. So I'm going to just kind of drill it out with my pin vise here. And that'll clean out all the paint in there. Give us a nice surface to glue to. Oh, you know what? Let me clean up before I go too far. I need to do the front, which is going to go right there. It's going to be a little difficult at this point, but I'm just going to scratch off some of this paint. And this paint's a little difficult to actually scratch off because if you remember right, this is actually automotive paint that I'm using. Automotive touch-up paint. So it takes a little bit of effort. I mean, it's hard enamel. And it takes a little bit of effort to actually get a surface to glue to. I think that's going to be okay. Now let's bring our glue back, which should be nice and gummy. Actually, we've kind of used it all. Is this I just lost my toothpick. Well, did I glue it to the... Oh, here it is. Oh, we've got some good gummy glue right over here. This might be what I was using earlier. Actually, it's too gummy. It's set too much. So let's just go again with it. How do you guys apply your glue? What glue do you use? Do you use just plastic cement or do you use CA glue? I tend to use both. It just depends on what I'm doing. These little bitty things, I like to use CA glue. Unfortunately, like I said, all I have is the thin stuff right now. If I had the medium, Starbond makes a medium viscosity, I guess you would say. And it works perfect. You could just put one of their tips. In fact, let me show you. Do I have... Yeah, here we go. When you buy Starbond, it comes with a bag of tips. You guys can see that. You've got a ton of tips that you can use. And with the medium, I can just, with one of these tips, I can place it almost like what I'm doing with the toothpick. I can just place a little drop of glue. With the thin, unfortunately, with the thin stuff, it'll just run. The thin, by the way, so why the point in the thin stuff is really if I was to glue, let me find something I can use as an example. If I was to glue, there's got to be something here that's like this, say this toothpick container and this, if I was to glue these two things together, I could just run, in fact, you know, these are both not needed anymore. I can show you. You can take your thin set glue and just run it right down the seam. And that, because it's so thin, it'll work its way in. Now, if I spray this with some accelerant, and I just dripped accelerant all over me, I got it everywhere. Take your time when doing it. Don't make a mess like I just did. It should, other than the fact that this is filthy, I think we just glued a bunch of dirt. But because of the thin, it'll work its way in between the two surfaces, almost like using the extra thin. If you guys ever use the extra thin cement, plastic cement, you can push two pieces together and then glue them together that way. But well, I just pulled the paint off the can. Anyways, very bad example for Starbond. Yeah, if you have a painted can, it'll just pull the paint off. You're just gluing paint. But anyways, you get what I'm trying to say. So to do it now, because that's all I have, I'm using a toothpick, which I've, again, lost. Here it is. And just letting it thicken up a little bit while it sits over here, like it has now. And it actually works pretty good. It's been, like I can take this toothpick and just put it in the hole there. And with this just a little bit gummed up CA glue, you get some pretty good, spot gluing, I guess you would say. And if I could get my hand to not shake, I could probably do it without making a mess. So right here. All right. And where did I put? Here it is. You know what? Well, that sets a little bit. I'm going to just kind of smooth up this spot right here. And we'll touch up this paint, of course. Just like that. Nice and smooth. And then let's put this in place. So this peg needs to go in here. Just like that. And then this is going to sit over top the chain right there. And I probably should have touched up that paint before I did it, but I think I can do that. And that looks pretty good. It basically sits on the chain is how it's actually fitting. But that's all right. Actually, we got a little gap there, I think. Yeah, there's a little gap. Can you guys see? Well, if I put it in frame, you probably could. You can see it just sits right over that chain. Basically just a chain guards. So no problem with putting your arm directly on the head of the motor or the exhaust, but at least you're not going to get your arm cut off by a chain. Just burnt really bad. All right. So now we'll let that glue up. What was the, oh, we got to do the number plate for the back here, which I went ahead and just painted silver. It doesn't, oh, I guess it does say. It says H, no, H4 is, so that's actually the decal that goes on here. It didn't say what color to paint it. I just went ahead and painted it silver. I didn't want to leave it white, which I think is going to look all right. Let's get that smoothed up and get this cleaned up. Just like that. It's got 2 pegs here. These are going to be, let me test fit this. And they're centered, so I guess it doesn't matter which way it goes. They're going to be able to, yeah. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the in between the 2 pegs here. I'm going to use as my glue point. So I'm going to take that off there, and I'm going to take, you literally can't see any of this surface, so I don't have to be too terribly careful with scratching this paint off. That'll give me a good glue point. Where is my glue? Make sure I got it good. It doesn't take much CA glue to do the job. I think a lot of times people use too much. I think in general, just with glue period, people tend to use too much. There is literally appropriate amounts of glue to use, whether it's, wood glue, carpenter's glue, CA glue, which is, super glue or crazy glue or whatever you want to call it. Okay, that's going to work okay. So we'll let that sit. Now we've got a little bit of time left today. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and touch up this paint because it's really bugging me. Where did my black go? I did paint that. Did I paint that? Oh, wow. Well, this is a problem. I can't remember if I painted that black or if that's I did paint it black. I'm pretty positive. So let's go ahead and touch that up. The black and the gunmetal are very, very similar, but I can see the difference here. So this silencer is gunmetal. I painted actually gunmetal, and then that's black. The model itself, so anything metal, it just said silver. Just paint it silver. But I hate painting everything the same silver. I like to have some variety in color, just like, so the silencer I went ahead and did silver. Actually, the expansion chamber, I think it said paint black, but I did it gunmetal, just like some of the other metal pieces on the cart. But let me touch up this chain guard, if for nothing else, for thumbnail reasons. Use a nice little brush here. Okay, good. That looks good. Got that touched up. And then I'm going to have to touch up the front wheels, which are, oh, this is actually a problem. It was actually a color that I mixed. Basically, I took some silver because I wanted the wheels to be a little bit of a different color. I've got to figure out how to get this wheel. I might just pull on it. I guess it might. I've got to get this wheel back on the rim. I'll probably mess with that because that's going to take some effort. I'll mess with that in between episodes. But I custom mixed the wheel color. So what I did, and so I'll actually let you see. This is probably a good thing. So I just went silver, and then I took the gunmetal color here, and with this a little bit, I'll just probably put 2 drops in, and then that's the color I use for the wheels. I mix it, and it just makes it a little bit of a different silver. I think this is going to be okay to touch up. You can see where the axles came through, and now they're red. Obviously I don't want them red. So I'm going to just paint it this color on and give a good coating to the inside of the wheel too, where we were messing with them. Some of the paint got a little scuffed. And that has a booger in it. Let me see if I can get, there we go. Some of the plastic that came through with it. Yeah. Touch it up here just very carefully. Oops. That looks pretty good. I'm okay with that. Set that aside. Anything else we need to clean up while we're here? We're about out of time. I appreciate you guys joining us today, or joining me today. Thank you for being there. Thank you. If you watch to the end, leave me a comment down below. Let me know that you watch all the way to the end. I'm not sure how many people do. These are long. I'm sure people just tune right out. Most people do on YouTube. But if you watch all the way to the end, let me know. I'm having a blast doing this. I need to put those side pods on. You know what? I think I'll do that in between. I don't want to hold you guys up any longer because we're about to our 45-minute mark. But I'm going to go ahead and drill these out. And then I'm going to go ahead and also mount up the side pods. I'll do that and it'll be done when we come back next time. Because next time what I want to do, I want to use a full episode to do Mr. Senna himself. Do the figure. So I'm going to get what I'll do in between episodes. Literally all we have left to do, all we have left to do is put on these side pods, and the cart itself is done. So I'll do that. I'll put these on in between episodes, in between the time I see you tomorrow. And so tomorrow we'll be working on the figure itself. Like I said, leave me that comment down below if you've watched all the way to here. Leave me a comment if you have a comment to make. But hit that like button. Subscribe if you would, if you enjoy these. And I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.